When someone you love dies, you do things that make no rational sense. You buy flowers and leave them somewhere they'll never be seen. You visit a patch of ground and talk to it. You keep objects that belong to someone who no longer exists. And you've probably never stopped to ask why. Because we assume these rituals came from somewhere, from religion, from culture, from civilizations slowly developing a way to process something unbearable. But archaeologists keep digging, and every time they find the oldest funeral ever recorded, they find something older underneath it. In 2021, a team excavating Panga Saidi Cave in Kenya uncovered a child's skeleton, carefully placed in a pit, hands folded, head resting to one side, positioned with deliberate, intentional care. The child had been buried 78,000 years ago, not abandoned, not disposed of, buried, which means that 78,000 years before the first city existed, before writing, before any religion we can name, someone knelt over a small body and chose to do something about it. But here's the thing, 78,000 years is not the beginning of this story. Go back further to a cave in the northern mountains of Iraq, Shanidar Cave. Inside, archaeologists found the remains of a Neanderthal, not Homo sapiens, a different species, and the soil surrounding the body contained concentrated deposits of pollen, 8 different plant species, all of them flowering, several of them medicinal. Someone may have laid flowers on this body before it was covered, 60,000 years ago, before our species even reached that part of the world. The impulse to mark a death, to bring something, to not simply leave, may be older than us. But neither of those was the most unsettling thing the excavations found. In 1955, archaeologists working outside Vladimir, Russia, uncovered a burial site called Sungir. Inside lay 2 adolescent boys, dead for roughly 34,000 years. Surrounding them were more than 10,000 ivory beads, each one individually hand-carved from mammoth tusk. Researchers who attempted to recreate the process estimated that producing a single bead took approximately 45 minutes, which means someone spent more than 7,500 hours, nearly a full year of waking life, carving beads, only to bury them. They also found fox-tooth pendants, bracelets carved from mammoth ivory, spears made from straightened mammoth bone, everything a person might need wherever they were going. Then, researchers looked more closely at the remains of one of the boys. He had walked with a severe leg deformity his entire life. He could barely run. In a world where running meant survival, where running was the difference between eating and becoming prey, he was a liability. He was buried with more grave goods than almost anyone at the site. His community didn't leave him behind when he was alive. They didn't leave him behind when he died. But then there's Jericho. Around 7,200 BC, in what is now Palestine, people began doing something with their dead that nobody had documented before, and that most people today find genuinely difficult to look at. They kept the skulls. After burial, they would come back, excavate the skull, remove it from the grave, fill the cavities with plaster, press shells into the sockets where the eyes had been, paint on features, reconstruct the face of the dead person in 3 dimensions, and then bring them home, display them inside the house where the living would see them every single day. These weren't trophies. Archaeologists believe they were ancestors, kept present, given a face, allowed to look back at the family who still needed them. Imagine waking up every morning with your grandmother's reconstructed face watching from across the room. For thousands of years in that part of the world, that was grief. Now look at what every burial across every continent has in common. Red ochre, a red mineral, the color of blood, found smeared on the bodies of the dead before burial in Kenya, in Russia, in Australia, in Spain, in China, across 100,000 years of human history. On every continent where ancient graves have been found, people made the same decision independently, to paint the dead with the color of the living. There was no cultural exchange across those distances, no shared tradition passed between people who never met. They arrived at the same answer completely alone, which tells you this wasn't learned behavior. It came from the same place in every human mind, everywhere, across all of time. The need to say, this person mattered. The need to do something, anything about the fact that they were gone. You still feel it. The flowers make no sense. The grave visits make no rational sense. The keeping of photographs, the saved voicemails, the objects that belonged to someone who no longer exists, none of it is practical. None of it changes anything. But 78,000 years ago, in a cave in Kenya, someone knelt over a child and felt exactly what you would feel. And 60,000 years ago, in a cave in Iraq, something that wasn't even fully human yet may have felt it too. We like to think grief is something civilization taught us, a luxury we developed once survival became easier. But the oldest graves tell a different story. Grief didn't emerge because civilization gave us the space to mourn. Civilization emerged because we were already the kind of creature that couldn't just walk away.